Hello everybody, welcome into Trackilicious. Hope you're having a good week so far. Today we are bringing you round number 2 of the GT3 Sprint Championship in Le Mans Ultimate. We had an epic showdown last weekend, round number 1 around Sebring. The bumpy nature of that track will not be missed. Nice and smooth around Algarve International Circuit. However, lots of undulation with the turns going from left and right. The track changing elevation up and down. Should be a fun roller coaster ride for the drivers in the qualifying session. Getting underway now. Let's head to the track and see what's going on there. Oh my goodness me. Here we go. It is the even-numbered drivers out first, while the odd-numbered drivers wait in the pit lane. Joshua Hildenbrand in the BMW is able to take his part in the qualifying session in the first 10 minutes of the 20-minute session. That will be the reserved for the even-numbered drivers, so you can, or the odd-numbered drivers, excuse me. So you can see Terrell leading the way of those, and Coco Krusty with the raid right away. Welcome in, viewers of Coco Krusty. Hope you are all having a great day so far. You join us at the start of the qualifying session, just getting things started, just 90 seconds in, with the first drivers taking to the start-finish line to start their first qualifying laps. Hope you guys had a great stream. Welcome in. We are hoping to do the same here in Le Mans Ultimate, round number 2 around the Portuguese track located on the southern coast near city Portimao in the Algarve region. Some draft masters, heck yeah. Well, welcome in. Happy Tuesday to you and everybody else joining in. As Terrell gets a purple sector 1 on the board, the drivers behind cannot match. And last week we had a lot of Porsches inside the top 5. Will it be the same situation here today around Algarve? Brett Samuelson in the Lexus. A little bit further back from the leading pack, but he's still getting the lap in here. Pretty quick warm-ups for the tires in these GT3 cars. Can push almost right out of the gates. One Bigley, thank you so much for the donation. As always, the continued support does not go unnoticed. Thank you so much from myself and all of the Trackilicious crew doing the hard work in the background. Now to the Porsches at the front. Terrell coming up to the line. What sort of time will he produce? It's a 1:44.816 for the rest of them to chase down. Ivan Cabral behind, can't quite get to the lap time, 3/10 behind, and Zach Terrell went wide and out of track limits, so he will have to go around once more to try and get a lap. The Aston of Pork Chop comes up to the line, goes to 6th place ahead of the 507 Lexus, behind the number 23 Mercedes as Lucarelli returns to the pits. Samuelson getting a good lap in. He goes to 4th. So after the first laps, it's Jake Terrell on top. Then you have Ivan Cabral, Ebube Honor in 3rd place in the Mustang. Then Samuelson 4th, then the sister Mustang of Diego Mateo in the 787 rounds out the top 5. Nana Afuaqua in the number 23, just behind Honor on track in the number 23 Mercedes, takes 6th place. Then Porkchop 7th, Bonerson in 8th and 9th. Zach Terrell with no lap yet. Same with Hildenbrand and same with Lucarelli. Still looking for times from those three. Will it be a different story on lap number 2 for Zach Terrell? And will there be an improvement from the 2 Porsches on the top row? No improvements from brother Jake Terrell. Cabral improves his time by a couple of tenths, as Zach Terrell here goes into the top 5, but a great lap from Afuaqua puts him onto the front row, splitting the 2 Porsches, less than a tenth between the AMG and the lead Porsche on top. So Lucarelli looking for a lap still here in the early, or I guess it is kind of the late half of the session now, with just under 4 minutes to go for the odd numbered drivers. Ivan Cabral with a 2nd place finish in round number 1. Looking to get a front row start here. Purple sector 1 for him. Can't get a personal best on the board in sector 2. And now looking to close out the lap into the final couple of right-hand corners. And dealing with the downhill here through turn 14. Tricky to get the power down, but it is very necessary to do so. Long straightaway opening up after you crest turn 15, hit the apex, and it is pedal to the metal, to the line. Will we see an improvement from Terrell in front? Not quite. This is the opportunity. Cabral can try and improve. He does improve past the AMG, but can't get ahead of Terrell on the front step for the time being. Zach Terrell in the 69 Porsche improves up to 4th place. Hildenbrand gets a lap, puts him into the top 5. As Lucarelli now heads down the hill for the roller coaster ride, looking to close out sector 2, gets a session best purple sector 2. It's looking good for the number 11 Corvette. Into the final 2 minutes we go. Lucarelli will have this lap plus 1 more. 3rd place finisher from round number 1 last week. Looking to get a head start in the qualifying session. Maybe sneak onto that front row. What will it be as he exits the final corner? Coming up to the line, it's a good sector 1, a session best sector 2. What will it be in sector 3 for the number 11 Corvette? He goes all the way to the top. A 144.559 sees him 2.5 tenths clear of Jake Terrell. Now dropping back to 2nd place as he comes out of the final corner. Now he will have this lap plus 1 more if he's got the fuel for it in the car. Does Terrell have a response to the pace set by the Corvette at the front? He gets a personal or session best sector 1 and sector 3, but he is so far down on the time in sector 2 that he can't make up for it. 1 more go around and he runs wide and going into the wall in frustration there. That will be the session done for Jake Terrell. Afuaqua in the pits as well. Same with Mateo in 3rd, and the Mustang of Honor as well in the pits from 8th. So just a handful of drivers remain out on track in the final 30 seconds. Thank you for the follow, Mr. Carl. Hope you're having a good night, enjoying the action so far. As Jake Terrell is in second. Oh, and Lucarelli drifting out of the penultimate corner. That will see his qualifying session end. But luckily for him, he is on the front row as it stands. Hildenbrand off to the side of the road as well. No improvements from the odd number drivers here as the even numbers begin to file their way out onto the track. This will be the final lap for Ivan Cabral. Down on his time in Sector 1 and 2. Can he make up for it in Sector 3? He can make up just about enough to get onto the front row for now. Moves ahead of Terrell to be the lead Porsche on the grid. Still about 2/10 behind Lucarelli, but that will be the session done for the odd number drivers. Now, what can the even drivers do? Just 5 of them out on track compared to the 11 we had in the first half of the qualifying. Daniel Condrachuk leading the even number drivers out in his number 50 Aston Martin. Corvette of Mercedes Harrison had a good result in the qualifying last week, but had an unlucky start and had to recover back into the top 10, but it was a good drive nonetheless from the Corvette, having to work their way through the field. As we have some Merc Sim Racing fans. Harrison will be happy for that support as the first lap begins for the number 830 Corvette. Sun setting, action picking up here. Into the final 8 minutes we go. Hashim Ali in the session as well in the 686 Lexus. Getting through turn 3 out of the hairpin. Very easy to run wide out of turn 4 and invalidate the lap. But Ali not doing so as the front of the Lexus scraping under the brakes into the hairpin at turn 5, shooting back up the hill through turn 6. Then a very tricky corner combination here at turn 7 and 8. Just a lift into 7. And then hard on the brakes into 8. And then the roller coaster ride really begins, heading down the hill and then rising back up through the left-hander before getting onto the crest. And trying to find your braking point is super tricky going into turn 11. And then once again on the exit, the track just shoots you back down. And on the entry into turn 13, up the hill once again, Ali with just a few corners to go. The right-handers at 14 and 15 remain. And what pace does the 686 Lexus have in store? Rising up the crest and now back down the hill into the start-finish straight. Where will the Lexus climb? Harrison goes to 5th. Condrachuk in 8th. How about Ali? Ali slots into 6th. Not too far off the pace of Mercedes Harrison. Just 33 thousandths of a second separate those two drivers. Now George Elmer in the lone Ferrari on the grid tonight, as he comes out of the final corner in the number 22. Goes to 13th ahead of Pork Chop behind the number 29 Lexus of Samuelson. And Ryan Joyner pushes Elmer down to 14th as the number 20 Corvette takes 13th place away from the Ferrari. Harrison with the final sector to go, and it's looking like a decent lap so far. Personal best in sector 1 and 2. No overall bests for the Corvette. Needs about 0.3 of a second to get up to the second row, occupied by Jake Terrell and Nana Afawakwan. In fact, it's Daniel Condrachuk who will move up all the way to second place in the number 50 Aston Martin to join Lucarelli on the front row. What can Mercedes Harrison do? To the line, gets a personal best lap, but can't quite find enough time to get ahead of the AMG, now in 5th place. Ali also can't improve on his lap time. What about the two drivers further down the track? George Elmer, personal best sector 1 and 2 on the board for him on this lap. Can he get that result and match it in sector 3? Gets ahead of Joyner, who is behind him on track, but slower through sector 1 and 2. Can he put up a mighty sector 3? And no, he cannot. So Elmer will stay in front of the number 20 Corvette. Oh, a little bit wiggly on the exit for Daniel Condrachuk in the number 50 Aston Martin. He is on the front row as it stands. Down on his time in sector 1, a personal best sector 2. Looking to close it out here, going down the hill, shooting out of the final corner onto the main straight. Can the Aston find about 0.2 of a second and get ahead of Lucarelli onto the top? He can! A 1:44.487 from the Aston Martin moves him up to provisional pole, less than a tenth, separating him from the Corvette, now in second place. And he is looking to go quicker still. Overall best, sector 1, purple on the board for the Aston Martin. Harrison and Ali, no improvements for them in 6th and 7th place. Elmer and Joyner also can't close out their laps for an improvement. Actually, Elmer does get an improvement on the board. Takes a couple of tenths off of his personal best. Gabriel Sosa joining the party, the number 8 out on track here. In the final 2 minutes, it's pretty much going to be a do or die lap here for the BMW. As into and now out of the final corner comes the Aston Martin, already on provisional pole, but looking to increase that gap to the rest of the grid. What sort of time will the Aston Martin set coming up to the line? And improves by about another 0.2 of a second. A 1:44.268 from the lead GT3 car on the grid, the number 50 Aston. And with time still in hand, looking to go around and improve that benchmark. Sosa gets a time on the board, pushes Elmer and a Joyner down, as he will now occupy that 13th place position. Elmer back to the pits. Harrison can't get an improvement ahead of the AMG for 5th. neither can Hashim Ali. In fact, going back to the pits. What can Joyner do? Oh, he runs wide out of the final corner. Does that invalidate the lap for the Corvette? Zeros on the clock. That will be the lap done, and the session is done for the number 20 Corvette, starting from 15th. So that just leaves Gabriel Sosa with one more do-or-die lap. He joined right at the end of the qualifying, currently putting himself up in 13th place. Condrachuk can't improve on his personal best Sector 1 or 2. But I think for him it won't matter too much, as he will just return back to the pits, as he will start from the top step. Unless Gabriel Sosa has some magic in his pockets. 2.2 seconds down. It's gonna need a mighty final sector if he wants to get all the way up to the top. But he does improve in Sector 1, a little bit down on his pace in Sector 2. What will the time be as he crosses the line, gets close to Brett Samuelson within a couple of tenths, but he will stay in 13th place in the number 8 BMW. "20 minutes of qualifying concluded. 17 cars getting valid laps on the board.
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a race start.
And now they have 90 seconds to get their race setups ready, which gives us exactly 90 seconds to run through the grid. Starting from 17th is Bort Bonnerson in the number 507 Lexus. Next to him, Dr. Porkchop in the number 71 Aston, starting from 16th. Then you have the Corvette of Ryan Joyner in the number 20 in 15th. Then George Elmer next to him in 14th in the number 22 Ferrari. Then you have Gabriel Sosa in 13th in the number 8 BMW, with Samuelson in front of him in the number 29 Lexus. In 11th is Ebube Honor in the number 55 Mustang. Joshua Hildenbrand rounds out the top 10 in the number 7 BMW. Then you have Zach Terrell in the number 69 Porsche, starting from 9th. On the back of the 4th row is Diego Mateo in the 787 Mustang. Next to him, the lead Lexus on the grid, it's Hashim Ali in the 686. On to the 3rd row we go, and Mercedes Harrison starts from 6th in the H30 Corvette. Rounding out the top 5, Nana Afawakwa in the number 23 AMG, using the 62 livery. In 4th is Jake Terrell in the 83 Porsche, making it an all Porsche 2nd row, with Ivan Cabral next to him in the 157. Grant Lucarelli starts from 2nd place in the number 11 Corvette, and on the front is Daniel Condrachuk in the number 50 Aston Martin, looking to get a good getaway from pole position as the grid gets ready to go racing. They are rolling for the short formation up the hill and on to the starting lights, where we wait for the green lights to go and release the 17 car grid for 40 minutes of sprint racing. No refueling necessary, no pit stops, action from start to finish. Can the Aston and Corvette maintain momentum from the front row? Can the Porsches have anything to say about it? The green flag waves, time begins to tick as the sun already behind the horizon. In the background, Condrachuk defends the inside well wide from the Corvette, and the Aston Martin pulling a substantial lead going into the braking zone. It's very tight between the Corvette of Harrison and Ivan Ivan Cabral, and for the moment, the Corvette of Harrison has the position, but is trying to cut off the the attack by Ivan Cabral, who is forced to go the long way around, and nearly rear-ending him is the AMG of Afawakwa, down a place from the top 5, but still right in the mix, hanging on to the back of the 157 Porsche. Grant Lucarelli recovering back onto the tail of the Aston Martin as the lead 2 look to try and build a gap over Jake Terrell. It's already 1.1 seconds after the first few sectors, but Lucarelli looking down the inside, but not quite a lot of room on offer there, and a squirrely exit from the Corvette sees him lose all that time he gained from the beginning, and Terrell can begin to close on in if more mistakes begin to come like that from Lucarelli, but he will look to avoid that as he tries to stay close to the back of the race leader. The Mustang of Honor making up some ground early on, starting just outside the top 10, now in 8th place, and is the lead Mustang on the grid, looking to close in on the 69 of Terrell, also up a couple places from where he started. Diego Mateo closing in on Honor, and then we have the two Lexuses battling behind. It's Ali looking down the inside of turn 1, and he'll get the move done past Samuelson. Moves back up inside the top 10 now, hopes to chase down the two Mustangs right up ahead of him. First, it's going to be the 787 of Mateo, who is looking to get the move done on the sister car and get back into the lead position that he qualified himself in. But at the moment, running just a touch wide, opening up the inside momentarily for the Lexus to think about slipping in, but not quite a lot of room and grip there for the 686 to sneak on through. Top 4 remain unchanged. Harrison and Afawakwa swapping places from where they started, and it's Mateo going down the inside at the top of the hill, but can't find the grip as the 55 Mustang able to escape the attack thrown his way by the 787. For second place, Jake Terrell on the back of the Corvette. The Corvette runs wide, might pick up a couple of track limit violations there. Oh, and there's contact between the two of them. As Terrell down the inside, Lucarelli looks to keep the grip around the outside, but can't quite do it. Tries to brake early, gets the over-under attempt. Terrell runs wide. He might pick up a track limit violation there, but in doing so, will slide ahead up into second place. So now Cabral looking to follow the sister Porsche through. Oh, and contact onto the back. Mercedes Harrison gonna go through. Not just one, maybe two cars, and will yield the position to Lucarelli. But in that contact, Cabral goes into the back of Lucarelli just for a slight bit. Loses the inside positioning, and Mercedes Harrison able to take advantage of the space given. As now Lucarelli certainly has his hands full of headlights in his mirror. First it's Harrison, then Cabral. Afawakwa not too far off either in the lone AMG on the grid this evening. All of this battling has allowed Condrachuk to build a 1.6 second gap over Jake Terrell, who himself has built a 1.5 second lead over Lucarelli because he has his mirrors full of Mercedes Harrison in 4th, Cabral in 5th, Afawakwa 6th, then Zach Terrell about 1 second off of this pack in 7th, Abube Honor in 8th, Diego Mateo 9th, and Hashim Ali rounds out the top 10. Some great little trains developing here from 3rd down to 7th, and then from 8th down to 12th as well. Abube leads the way in the 55 from 8th. Then you've got Mateo in the blue Mustang chasing. Then you have the pair of Lexuses close, with Ali ahead of Samuelson. Inside, opening up momentarily. Mateo thought about slipping through, but not a lot of room. And once again, not easy to carry the speed through the corners, where Mateo is finding a little bit of an advantage over the Mustang ahead of him. He's going to have to think of something clever if he wants to get by the 55 and get into a bit of clean air and try and close down the 3.5 second gap to Terrell in 7th place. And it looks like out of the final corner, Ivan Cabral has the best run out of everybody. He is right on the bumper of the 830 Corvette, but Harrison confident on the brakes. The Porsche goes heavily over the curbs, loses the grip, and loses the traction, and loses the position to the AMG Afawakwa, recovering back to the top 5. But runs wide, giving up the inside back to Ivan Cabral to take the place back, and Terrell takes the place as well. The pair of Porsches sneak through the AMG as the 69 is now firmly in this battle for that final podium position. Jake Terrell with a bit of clean air, closing down the gap ahead by just a couple of tenths of a second on the previous lap. Certainly had some pace in the bag in qualifying and showing his frustration at the end of it. But now with a bit of clean air in front, he's able to extract the pace out of the Porsche and just close in on the Aston Martin just little by little. Still plenty of time left in the race for the Porsche to try and get another victory here in the Tuesday GT3 Sprint Championship. Afawakwa, after running wide out of this corner here, losing a couple of places to Cabral and Terrell. Looking to make up the ground, though. Certainly has the pace in the bag to do so. Qualified inside the top 5. And looking pretty confident on the brakes there into the hairpin down the hill. Just staying close to the 2 Porsches in front. Perhaps allowing them try and battle it out and just sneak his way on through. Two Corvettes just up the road. 3rd is Lucarelli. 4th, Mercedes Harrison. Staying right in the wheel tracks of the sister car ahead. Just looking to close in and see if any fortune may come his way. because at the moment they seem pretty similarly matched on pace, the two Corvettes in third and fourth. Not a whole lot between them. Harrison up a couple places. In fact, let's take a look at the grid progress of the entire grid. Condrachuk remains out in front from pole position where he started. Terrell trying to break the toe with the Mercedes approaching behind into turn one. As the Terrell brothers getting some good starts early on. Jake Terrell up 2 places to move his Porsche up to second place. And Zach Terrell here under pressure from the AMG up 3 places after starting in 9th. Trying to hang on to 6th place, a bit of a wiggle, but not a whole lot of drama there. It looked like it was going to be a lot more major when it first began to step out, but the traction control kicking in nicely, keeping the back of that Porsche under control. So Lucarelli, after starting on the front row, down a position under pressure from Harrison, who's up 2. Cabral down a couple. So pretty varied grid inside that top 10. Everybody moving up and down a couple places. Oh, and the 2 Fords drop out of the top 10. Maybe there was contact between the two, but we saw Honor and Diego Mateo running next to each other on track in 8th and 9th. And now Honor dropping back to where he started in 11th. And Mateo down 5 places to 13th. Jake Terrell within a second of race leader Daniel Condrachuk. The Aston Martin led from the start. Hasn't had much pressure after the opening lap, but now, as we head past the 13-minute mark, Terrell able to reel in the race leader and looking to apply the pressure and get on by. After the top 2, it's a 3-second gap to the pair of Corvettes, where Lucarelli leads Mercedes Harrison. Harrison just continuing to stay close behind Cabral, 2 seconds back. Can't quite reel in the Corvettes. So perhaps Harrison just thinking to use the pace of Lucarelli in front and pull away from the cars behind before firmly trying to apply the pressure. Meanwhile, it's the AMG who was once again the closest to trying to make a move, but very tricky to do into turn 1. Very high speed. Lots of respect given by the 69 Porsche. Leaves just about enough space for the AMG and into the heavy braking zone. He can't squeeze on through the inside and take the position away from the 69 Porsche. Will it be a different story going out of turn 4 into the turn 5 hairpin? Not quite yet. Nana Afuaqua can't find a way by the Porsche of Zach Terrell. Elmer and Porkchop trading places, and the Camaro of Joyner looks to get involved in the mix as well. This is the battle for 14th place. Elmer looks to have just gotten by the 71 Aston of Dr. Porkchop. And Joyner tried to sneak through as well, but not a lot of room after the Aston taking the defensive line. A good three-car battle here. For 14th, 15th, and 16th place. Joshua Hildenbrand moves up a position to 9th to split the two Lexuses, but it's Diego Mateo applying the pressure to the BMW of Sousa for 11th. And trying to sneak through the inside, no room given by the BMW for him to do that, but the BMW compromising his exit out of turn 4. The Ford looks to take full advantage, sweeps to the inside of the hairpin of turn 5, and now heavy on the brakes. The 55 of Abube goes deep, and Mateo trying to get the power down. A little bit squirrely on the exit. The BMW sneaks through much more efficiently, gets the power down, and holds on to the position. Trouble for Grant Lucarelli. He falls back to 6th place. Harrison moves up to 3rd. Cabral to 4th. Afawakwa to 5th place. Oh, and Terrell drops back to 7th also. So the Corvette of Lucarelli and the Porsche of Terrell losing a few places on the last lap. Not quite sure what happened there. But in that, Harrison will inherit the final spot on the podium with a 2-second lead over Cabral. Will look to hold that until the end. A pair of Mustangs just can't get away from each other out on track, as it's Honor going down the inside of turn 3, gets the position and able to return back out wide to get onto the racing line for turn 4, and gets onto the straight ahead of the 787. The gap at the front between Terrell and Condrachuk just hanging out right around that half-second to 1-second mark. Terrell just can't quite close in to really apply the pressure and get on the bumper of the Aston Martin. As we are approaching the halfway mark, all 17 drivers still running in this one, which is fantastic to see. Condrachuk on top, Terrell in 2nd, Harrison rounds out the podium. Then you got Ivan Cabral in 4th, Nana Afawakwa 5th, Grant Lucarelli 6th, Zach Terrell 7th, Ali in 8th, Hildenbrand into 9th place. Brett Samuelson rounds out the top 10. Then you've got Gabriel Sosa 11th, Abube Honor just recently moving his Mustang up to 12th place. Diego Mateo in 13th, George Elmer 14th, Porkchop 15th, Ryan Joyner 16th, and Bort Bonnerson in 17th place. BMW, the defensive line into turn 5. Can the Mustang find the grip around the outside? Gets the power down pretty well. They look pretty evenly matched going out of the hairpin through turn 6. The Mustang's gonna have the inside, and Bube Honor up to 11th place. I was gonna say momentarily because the BMW thought about moving down the inside, but no room given. And now the 787 of Matteo will go through the BMW as well to take 12th. So Sosa getting shuffled behind the pair of Mustangs now as the 55 of Honor and Diego Matteo in the 787 look to close in on the next car ahead. It's the BMW of Hildenbrand, recently losing the position to Brett Samuelson as the Lexus and BMW continue their battle for 9th and 10th. Look at how much the BMW is just able to close in the straight, and the late move down the inside of turn 1 slides ahead and takes 9th back. So the BMW back to 9th, Samuelson to 10th, 3.7 seconds between Hildenbrand and his next opponent, the the Lexus of Hashim Ali, who's trying to get close to the back of the 69 Porsche, getting right around within a second. The AMG looks to move up to 4th. Ivan Cabral right ahead, and now the Porsche, in fact, was able to close in on Mercedes Harrison, getting that gap down to 1 second. So it might have a 3-car battle developing for that final podium position here. Harrison leading the way in the Corvette. Then you have Cabral in that orange and black Porsche with Nana Afawakwa in the number 62 liveried Mercedes in 5th place, but still within touching distance of the podium. Oh, and a big slide from the Porsche exiting turn 5, but Afawakwa not quite close enough to take advantage of that little slip. Certainly making his presence known in the mirrors of the Porsche, but just can't quite find the room to sneak on through just yet. This is the closest that Terrell has gotten to the race leader, within 0.3 of a second. Now out of the final corner. Can Terrell get the power down compared to the Aston Martin, and in the straight line, even with the slipstream, Condrachuk able to build that gap over, or a further 1/10 of a second, I should say. And now going into sector 1, that 0.3 gap has doubled to 6. And this pair of Mustangs is not done battling. Matteo behind Honor. In the battle for 11th and 12th place. Down the inside goes the 787. A very late move as the 55 was trying to open up the corner. In fact, he opened up the inside line, and now the 787 forced to go to the outside as the 55 cut in on the defensive and able to hold on to the position. Nearly bumper to bumper as they head up the hill into turn 11. Terrell trying to stay close to the Aston here, shrinking that gap just a touch on the previous lap. Looking to advance onto that top step of the podium. The Lexus going slowly there. I think that was just Bonderson getting out of the way there and allowing them to continue their battle. As Cabral challenging Mercedes Harrison for third place. It's a sketchy move going into turn... Oh my goodness, where are we? We're going into turn 12. Turn 11. Through the hairpin, the outside to the inside for the Porsche. Going back down. No, now we're going into turn 11. Up the hill we go to the right. Can the Porsche sneak on through? He's thinking about it, but can't quite find the room. Mercedes Harrison gets the power down and escapes the attack. Now shooting out of the final corner. Saw the straight line speed not favoring Terrell and his Porsche compared to Condrachuk. Will it be a different story for Cabral compared to Harrison? Going into turn 1, I think Harrison's gonna be comfortably ahead here. Not that heavy of a braking zone for the Porsche to sneak on through, but he can line himself up for an opportunity into turn 3. However, the Mercedes of Afawakwa is right there within touching distance once again. And the Porsche's really beginning to slide, and it is going to cost him potentially a 4th place position here as the AMG is going to go down the inside of turn 5. Can the Porsche find the grip around the outside? He's been squirrely on the exit here before, and not a very smooth exit once again for Ivan Cabral, so he will lose the position to the AMG Afawakwa up to 4th. Harrison can breathe a quick sigh of relief as the AMG and Porsche battle it out, opening up that gap to 1.1 second to the final podium place sitter. And Grant Lucarelli getting in the mix as well. There are the headlights of the number 11 Corvette. A 4-car race for the final step of the podium here, going into the final 10 minutes of round number 2. And as we shoot down the hill, it is a Corvette sandwich with a Porsche and AMG in the middle. Harrison in 3rd, Afawakwa 4th, Ivan Cabral in 5th, and Lucarelli in 6th, closing in on this 3-car battle. Over the past couple of laps, the Porsche seems the most unsettled out of the 4 cars here. As a bit of a screen freeze there. Hopefully nothing major for the drivers. As we have a change in the race lead, Terrell gets through, but Condrachuk is gonna fight it back through turn 12. And into turn 13, the Aston Martins thinking about the move down the inside, but Terrell closing off the opportunity. So Jake Terrell is your new race leader. After 31 minutes of running, Terrell starting from the 2nd row, clawing his way up to the front. And now 8.5 minutes remain for him to defend the position against the Aston Martin that started on pole, has had first place for the entirety of the race up until this point. Can Condrachuk line up a move and get the Aston back into the top spot, into the turn 3 hairpin? He's gonna send the move down the inside, but the Porsche has the grip to fight it off. Great race here, so many battles going on. Mega pace from the top 2. They are 13 seconds clear of 3rd. So they are clear to battle it out here all the way to the end. With Terrell taking the race lead on the previous lap. What do the drivers behind have in store? Afawakwa running a touch wide. For a moment, allowing the Porsche to think about sneaking a nose up the inside there. But the order is as we last checked. Harrison leading Afawakwa. Then you have Cabral in 5th, Lucarelli in 6th. The wiggle from the AMG exiting turn 13. The Porsche sneaking down the inside of 14. The Corvette trying to follow through, but he can't do so. They're going to run side by side for a second, but the Porsche is going to sneak through into the final corner and retake 4th place. But the AMG, good on power, out of the final corner. Will Nana Afawakwa send a move? Here we go. Porsche to the defensive line. It's going to take a lot of grip from that AMG to go the long way around. Can he keep it within the track limits? I think he just about did, but great amount of grip from Cabral. A slight tap, but not a much between the two of them. Cabral hanging on to 4th. All of this is allowing Mercedes Harrison to grow a 2-second gap to the Porsche of Cabral to solidify his position on the podium. Epic stuff all the way to the end here. Can Cabral use that clean air to try and close in on the final step of the podium? Or is that gap just too much for the time remaining? But the AMG behind certainly not giving it up easy, trying to get the position back. Lucarelli dropping back a touch as well, 2.3 seconds back from this battling duo. Into the final 4.5 minutes we go. Just a few laps remain. Oh my goodness, what's happened to Afawakwa? Oh, okay, good, he's still alive. Maybe. Oh no. He has pulled out the lag switch. Using anything to his advantage. Try and take 4th place back from the Porsche of Cabral. Yeah, right, one bigly. That's like an ACC kind of style glitch, where the car seems to just kind of like move all over the place. But maybe that's just from a spectator side of things. Maybe from the driver's side, everything was a-okay from their perspective. Yeah, it's quite the surprise in ACC when a car disconnects and it just starts floating off into the clouds. For a moment that did, yeah, you're right. For a moment that did seem like that was what was going to happen there. But a-okay for the AMG in 5th place. So into the final 2 laps we go. Terrell up 3 places from where he started this one. Condrachuk down 1 from pole. Harrison up 3 after starting from 6th, getting the Corvette up to a podium place. Oh no, and we lost Grant Lucarelli. Lucarelli back into the pits, I do believe. So Cabral, after starting from 3rd, dropping back to 4th, Afawakwa has been as high as 4th, as low as 8th, and back to 5th place where he started. Zach Terrell, mirroring Jake, also up 3 places after starting in 9th. Ali remains in 7th. Samuelson, the big gainer of the night, up 4 places into the top 10, into 8th. Then you got Hildenbrand up 1 after starting from 10th. The Mustangs, and fortunately an unlucky race for them, down 2 places for Mateo, down 1 for Honor. BMW of Sosa up 2 places after starting from 13th. Joyner and Porkchop up a few, as Elmer drops back 1. Bonderson up a position with the retirement of Grant Lucarelli. Final lap for the leader. Jake Terrell leading Condrachuk by about a second to solidify his advantage at the top, running just a touch wide. That gap shrinking, but it might not be enough for Condrachuk to really be able to reel in the Porsche on this closing lap of the race. Afawakwa side by side with Cabral through turn 7. Into turn 8, the Porsche maintains position ahead of the AMG. Very nearly. Nana Afawakwa able to sneak on through and take 4th place. Out of the penultimate corner, Jake Terrell, visibly frustrated after the qualifying session, started from the back of the 2nd row, but through the race showed he had the pace in the bag, and he will take his second win of the season in round number 2 at Algarve. Well done to the 83 to finish on the top step. Condrachuk in second place. Mercedes Harrison will hold on to third, and Cabral maintains fourth place ahead of Afawakwa. Great battling all race long between those three. Hashim Ali holds off the pressure. Or no, he was trying to pressure Terrell to the line, but Terrell will cross the line in 6th. Ali 7th, as Brett Samuelson will be next in 8th. Hildenbrand running wide there into the grass, but taking the checkered flag nonetheless in 9th place. Or no, what's happening here? Hildenbrand is dropping back. Did he not take the checkered flag? Because Mateo moves up to 9th, Sausa to 10th. Abube Honor will move up to 11th. As Ryan Joyner exits the final corner in the 20 Corvette. He will finish in 12th place. No, 13th. Hildenbrand in 12th. Was there a penalty that we couldn't see given to Hildenbrand? Pork chop across the line 14th. And George Elmer will round out the runners in 15th place. Out on track. Into the wall goes the Ferrari to close out round number 2 at the Algarve International Circuit. Back to the studio we go. Yeah, maybe he ran out of VE. That would be like I believe that's a 30-second penalty. Ah. So a drive-through would probably translate into something like a 30-second penalty then. So that was probably the case there for the BMW. As there is the Lexus going back to the pits. But Jake Terrell is your winner in round number 2. Condrachuk in 2nd. Mercedes Harrison in 3rd. We invite them to join us in the green room for a quick chat of how their race went on. Ivan Cabral 4th. Afawakwa 5th. Terrell 6th. As we go back to the menu in Le Mans Ultimate, we will take it back to the Trackilicious studio and wait for our podium sitters to pile on in for a quick chat. Here we go. Jake Terrell. Welcome in, Jake. And welcome in, Mercedes Harrison. Congrats on the win, Jake. It wasn't easy out there for you. Looked like you were a little frustrated after that qualifying, too.
Yeah, I was not the happiest camper with my performance in qualifying because I know that there was close to another second of pace I left on track. So was definitely frustrated leaving qualifying. But I reset the mental. I was like, got a long race. I know I have the pace. Try to settle in, do what we can, and try and move forward. And the start was kind of crazy. And I can't really remember how I got into second place, but that's how it happened. Grant had gone wide, leaving the final turn, and he lifted for a track limit penalty and caused contact, which I didn't realize he was going to slow down. And I ended up getting around him in turn 1. It was a whole weird situation. And then chasing down Daniel throughout the race, I was getting closer. He pulled a little bit, I get a little closer, he pulled a little bit, and then I finally got close enough to him in sector 2, and I saw one weakness, and the double right-hander leading up the hill and then back down. I knew that I was better on the brakes than him there, and I finally got close enough to where I could take a dive, and oh, that pass felt amazing. And then after that, it was just survive, and finally brought it home. I couldn't wait for that race to be over, but it was a good race.
Yeah, it was a good race. Daniel, good pace in the qualifying, taking pole position. Talk us through how the race start went for you. You looked pretty comfortable out in the lead there, and then the Porsche just reeled you in.
Well, the start was all right. TC was a major factor in that start. I just put it all the way down, kept my foot down, and hoped that it stuck. But I tried to keep the pace during the race, but about 9 laps in, the Aston was just giving out. I had no grip through the corners. I was just struggling to get any traction. It was great pace from Jake to catch up so quick, but I just knew at the end of it that it was just damage limitation.
Yeah, almost had the pace to battle it out there. I was keeping an eye on the gaps there. Yeah, it was super close between you guys all the way to the end there. Now, Mercedes Harrison, on to you. Interesting one for you there in the Corvette. Started from, I believe, 6th. Got yourself up to the podium places.
Yeah, it was definitely a difficult race. I didn't really have a lot of pace. The Corvette, it got a little wonky later on and towards the end of the race, but overall, I'm very happy with that performance given what happened last week at Sebring. So I can't complain, to be honest with you.
Yeah, good recovery. Certainly, yeah. One to forget at Sebring last week, but recovering very nicely and getting on to the podium here tonight. What are you guys looking forward to from the rest of the season? We got Silverstone next week, one of the DLC tracks. Are you guys ready for that one?
Silverstone's probably one of my weakest. I think Imola I'm very excited for. I know I have a lot of pace there. Also Spa, I know that one's going to be super comp, so I'm excited for those 3 for sure.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, Silverstone is definitely not my strongest track, so definitely gonna have to
Thank God.
maybe do a few laps. I'm not bad there. It's just like I can get into the 59s. It's just finding the consistency and race pace.
Yeah, well, this Silverstone's the home of Aston Martin, especially the race teams. So maybe, some secret information comes out. Maybe some British rain.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe the Aston holds up, but all I need is a miracle at this point.
Yeah, hoping for some home field advantage. Yeah, you two certainly had a great amount of pace at the top. I think the gap was about 13 seconds to the battling pack behind for the podium. Yeah, Mercedes Harrison under pressure all race long, but way to bring it home. Congrats on finishing on the podium, you three. Good luck in the rest of the races and carry that momentum on to the next round at Silverstone. Good luck. Hope to chat with you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Not a problem, folks. Moving on back here to the green room as we will conclude this one here tonight. If you want to get yourself signed up for this race and any other races that Trackilicious has, SimGrid is the place to go for that. Tomorrow we go to ACC for the multi-class championship for the GT3s and the GT4s going into round number 2. And we may or may not have Tyler Morgan on board for that one. 75-minute endurance style races, 2 pit stops for that ACC league. Friday, we go to Le Mans Ultimate Multi-Class with the hypercars in the GT3s. Sunday, the MX-5 Cup in iRacing. That will be an absolutely fun series. Great to hear them buzzing around the track as always. And yeah, excited to see what sort of action that brings the Monday ACC Rookies Series, finishing up round number 2 yesterday, going into round number 3 next week. And like I said, signups are open on SimGrid for those championships. Get yourself signed up. We hope to see you on the grid. And then you will see yourself on the stream here, maybe. Finish on the podium, get a chat with us. And that's just how it goes around here. Oh, one more thing to mention. Shirts, hats, all sorts of fun merch available on the Trackilicious website. There's also some track days coming up that Trackilicious is hosting. So make sure to get to the Trackilicious website, check out the information for that, and get yourself out on the track with the Trackilicious crew. Also hosting all sorts of watch parties for F1 and some cars and coffees events as well. Great to see all the shots posted on the Trackilicious Instagram as well. Some of the shirts available, like this Trackilicious BMW one. Silhouettes of all your favorite cars available there. But now, stick around for the raid of Racing Dragon, doing some Le Mans Ultimate dailies. So we will carry on the momentum from LMU and go to Racing Dragon. Stick around for the raid. Thank you as always for joining us tonight, watching along or racing, whatever it may be. Always happy to have you here with us at Trackilicious. We'll hope to see you tomorrow for the ACC multi-class broadcast here on Twitch. But for now, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you may be watching us from. Stay safe. Until next time, have a good one.